Hi everyone, it's Shelby. I have a Copic coloring video for you today, and I'm showing you how I do coloring of folds in clothing. I've chosen the Domestic Goddess stamp from Sugar Nellie. One, because it's a little bit on the smaller side, and the artist has already drawn in some very distinctive fold lines for the clothing, so you're not left guessing of where does it fall, where doesn't it fall. What I'm doing with my B32 is just laying down some color where I want the darkest shadows to eventually fall. And the reason that I do that is because it's a lot easier to fix an error with a light color than it is for a dark color. The other trick that I'll show you or tell you about is doing a little triangle down at the bottom of each of those folds. What I've learned over time in making many mistakes in coloring of the clothing is if I wasn't making that triangle, my lines became really distorted as I'm coloring, because I tend, as you see, do the up and down coloring and blending when I'm doing folds in clothing. And by using the triangle, it keeps the lines even and straight and helps with creating a more natural look in the coloring. Now I'm just coming in with the B32 and blending in a little bit more. Another recommendation I can make for you as you're learning to color folds is to, in your eye, how do you see the folds? Where do they fall? What fold is overlapping and which one is catching more light? The other thing that I'm doing right now is coming in with the B39, which is my darkest color. And you'll see that I'm starting to work in smaller sections. What I have found, or you probably know this if you've worked with Copics long enough, is some of those heavier pigmented inks, like the B39, tend to sit on top of the paper and dry very quickly. So if you work in smaller sections, you'll be able to get a little bit better blend with those deeper pigmented inks and catch them while they're still wet. If I were to do the B39 for the whole image all at one time, I would be left with a sticky mess because it would sit on the paper too long and dry too much. What I'm doing now as I work in adding those deep shadows is to blend in the colors. Again, my motion for coloring the folds in the clothing is up and down. This particular pleat here, I've visualized it as being up and catching more of the light source, which is coming from the top left. That's why I didn't add 39 or 37 to that particular fold. And that fold right there, I visualize as being shadowed. And this one here, again, I'm visualizing as being up and catching more of the light. Again, I'm going to recommend to work in smaller sections as you're blending each individual fold and working the colors. Again, darkest color because the pleat right above it is creating a shadow over it. And blending some more. The other thing that I'm going to recommend that you do, or something that I do, is when I think I'm done and I step back and I look at the image, is to identify where I might add a little bit more shadows or where the image needs a little bit more blending to make it look more natural. And that's what I'm doing right now, is just some touch-up work and trying to create the most realistic skirt that I can. And hopefully you can see where those folds are coming up and catching more of the light. Another trick is, if you want to add even more highlight to the areas that catch the most light, is come back in with your colorless blender and take off a little bit of color. That's another trick I can offer you. And that's it for the Domestic Goddess. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed your time. Thanks so much.